Welcome to my kitchen and my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make coleslaw from scratch. And I mean the whole recipe, not just the vegetables. Once you make your own dressing, you will never want to buy bottled coleslaw dressing again. And once you make everything from scratch, you will not want to buy that bagged coleslaw. It's kind of sad when you compare it to what you could do in your own kitchen. So I am all about the tools, efficiency, not wasting, and delicious, healthy food. So first thing I have here is my big stainless steel bowl. It is perfect for mixing. Then I have my dressing ingredients, which are apple cider vinegar, a good quality mayonnaise, I love Duke's, and honey. That's all you need. So I'm going to start with 1/3 of a cup of my Duke's mayonnaise. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to dump it right into my bowl. Then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of honey and 2 tablespoons of my apple cider vinegar. Now you might be thinking, well, what about celery salt? Don't worry, I'm going to add that at the end. So all you need to do is just stir that up till it looks like coleslaw dressing. And then once you get that done, you're going to start on the rest of your ingredients. So this coleslaw recipe has regular cabbage, regular green cabbage. It has carrot. I've already grated a carrot. I had some leftover purple cabbage, red cabbage, so I'm going to use a little bit of that, and a Granny Smith apple. And then if you want to be super healthy, you can add a little bit of kale. I've got some kale that I've already massaged. What is that? I'll tell you in a minute. And then I'm going to just dump that right into my bowl. Now it's time to start chopping the vegetables. So I'm making coleslaw for about 4 people, so I'm not going to be using a whole cabbage. I'm going to use about a half. And you might think, oh gosh, it's going to take a long time to chop up half a head of cabbage, and what do I do with it after that? So as you can see, I've got the core out. I chopped it in half. I took off the outer leaves that are usually not quite like you want. I'm going to take off 1 more, and then I'm just going to take my knife and I'm just going to do a thin slice across the cabbage. And you can see it's not really going to take that long. I'm doing a little bit on the side. You want your pieces so that they still look like something that hasn't gone through a big food processor. You can chop a little bit smaller if you like, but you want your cabbage to be recognizable as cabbage. So I'm going to keep going on that. You can see it's not going to take very long. While I'm doing that, you might be wondering, okay, so now I've got a half a head of cabbage. What in the world am I going to do with that? If you are like me, you do think about things like that and you don't want to waste any food. I am a vegetable evangelist, a vegetable lover, and because of that, it just hurts me. It just hurts my heart to waste any kind of vegetables. So I've been thinking about things that you can use cabbage for. I grew up with cabbage just being boiled to death and really wasn't that appetizing. But I have found that cabbage in any kind of a wok situation is delicious. So I always want to have cabbage in stir fry. It's great in fried rice. And then I also make an egg foo young that's got cabbage in it with some green onions and some mushrooms. So lots of ways to use cabbage once you have once you've got some leftovers. So I'm just gonna finish this up real quick. You can see I'm just doing little bitty shreds. And if you're not a big knife novice, be sure to curl those fingers so you don't get carried away and put a little bit of yourself into the coleslaw. So I've almost got this done. I've got a little bit in here that looks kind of close to the core, so I'm just gonna set it aside. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add, just really for color, a little bit of purple cabbage because I had some left over in the refrigerator. So same thing, get rid of that core and just do a little bit. I'm just doing a little bit for color. And I've got, if you hear a little meowing, I've got a little kitten who wants some attention. All right, let's do another couple of handfuls here, just for color. And you can kind of give it a chop, a rough chop. Look at that, starting to look good. And then carrots. So unlike your cabbage, I don't want to grate my carrot. I don't want to chop my carrot fine. I want to take my carrot and I want to julienne it. So when I get that carrot, I get a little taste of carrot. You know, it's recognizable. And so I'm just taking it, I'm slicing across the side of it, and then I'm cutting that into little strips. And the other thing about why you want to do this is it adds a lot of nice color to your slaw. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the apple. So you've got your finely sliced cabbage, both purple and green. Easy for me to say. And then you've got your beautiful orange. I think orange, besides green, might just be my favorite vegetable color. It's just such a happy color. And then the apple is going to give it this nice little sweet but slightly tart, because it's a Granny Smith apple bite. And then, I don't always do this, but I'm also going to add a little bit of kale for a little bit of extra depth of color and a little bit extra vitamins in there and greens in there, because those dark green vegetables, they're just so good for you. All right, so I've managed to get all of the carrots done and the apple. So I'm just going to cut it in half, cut around the core, and then the same thing I did with that beautiful orange carrot. Just slice it into thin slices and then cut across. And you have your julienne strips of apple. Really does not take very long. See, I've already done 1/4 of my apple, and I still have things to talk about. So it might go a little faster for you in your kitchen depending on your knife skills. But again, don't be tempted to throw everything in the food processor. It really does have a much better flavor if you take a little bit of time and do a little bit of chopping. If you are a julienne mandolin fan, by all means use that. I personally have never owned one, and so I just work with a knife. All right, so we're almost done. In fact, I think based on the amount of cabbage that we have, I'm gonna stop with 1/2 of an apple. This is also one of those recipes, it's kind of fluid. It doesn't have to be precise measurements. I would say on the slaw, the cold slaw dressing, kind of stick with those measurements, and if you're making a bigger batch, just make more. So I used 1/3 of a cup of the mayonnaise. 1 tablespoon of honey, and 2 tablespoons of that apple cider vinegar. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of kale. So I bought a head of kale this week, and I took it, it's already been done, but you can see how I'm wadding it into a ball. That's what you call massaging kale. And what that does is it takes your kind of a pale green, almost like a gray, and it just brings out all the beautiful dark green color in it. And this one I had made for a salad earlier, and so it's already cut up into some small bites. So I'm gonna throw that in just for a little more, like I said, a little more color, a little more nourishment. And now I'm gonna get in here with my hand and mix it all up. And the reason I'm gonna do it with my hand, and I may do it with a glove on, or I may not, depending on how hard it is to get this glove on, but I like to do it with my hand because I wanna get that delicious dressing on every single bite. That way, you don't use quite as much dressing. So you can have a healthier version of coleslaw than something that you got, and oh, it's got plenty of dressing. So you can see it's just coming together and looks so good. All right. The other thing about coleslaw that I love is it's something that you can prepare ahead. In fact, you should prepare it ahead, because if you give it a couple of hours just to get all those flavors really kind of combined in, look at that. All right, now we're down to the very last step. The very last step is to add your celery salt. You don't have to have any fancy brand. I've just got McCormick's. So I'm just gonna sprinkle some on here. I think I have, I'll just stir it around with my hands. They're clean. All right, now the next thing that I think is the most important thing is to taste. So you wanna make sure you have enough, but not too much salt. So I am gonna add a pinch of kosher salt, and then I'm gonna add a couple more sprinkles of the celery salt because I love that. And then I'm gonna taste it again. Whoops, getting carried away here. So good. That is perfect. All right, last thing. I'm gonna put it in a refrigerator server ready bowl that I can put a lid on. And then I'm just gonna go about my day. And when I'm ready, all I have to do is take it out, take off that lid, put it on the table with a big spoon, and enjoy. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Come back and see me. Bye.